As of recent, it seems like I just am constantly hearing people talk just to talk. They like to hear themselves talk. They're talking about anything, and people are listening and taking it in. It's honestly crazy. We live in an age where there's just so much information. It's so saturated, and people are just gulping it down. It could be anybody saying anything. Wild. And I try not to let it frustrate me, but just seeing like the character of these people who are speaking, that's that. Today, though, I thought it'd be interesting. My buddy Keegan gave me a book by Friedrich Nietzsche called Beyond Good and Evil. And there's a part in it where it's just like a bunch of little quotes that he's written, that he wrote in the past. And I think some of them are interesting. And I like to just kind of mention them and see kind of if it sparks something in your head. One of them that I thought was interesting is, what is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil. I just, every time I read one of these quotes, I don't know what the hell it means, but I just like to try to sit on it and think. And it kind of brings me to different like trains of thought. So I don't know if I necessarily agree on what I feel it means, but I have ideas. Excuse me. Like, what is done out of love? I don't know. It's not just like in relationships sense. That's just in everything. Love for art, love for making music, love for, making shoes if you're a cobbler, making, baskets, weaving, knitting, anything that's like that. And I think I understand that just because of the depth I feel with certain pursuits in my life, specifically Olympic weightlifting or the Olympic lifts. When I do those things, or when I paint, when I make music, when I do any of that stuff, it feels like I am, how to say, like just changed into a vessel. Like there's no thought going on. It's just action coming through me. It's amazing. And that's what I think I'm addicted to in a sense. It's just that flow state of just pure act. This philosophy book I read, it talks about how in the early days of philosophy, they believed that the only truly eternal acts were just pure action, just acting. And I think back in life and like, whether it's with career, school, socially, relationship wise, it's like just acting. Whether or not it's even bad chance, it mostly doesn't turn out bad. Mostly it just happens and then you deal with it and it's out there. It's most likely positive for them. It's just, in my experience, it's been positive. And I think back about like Steve Jobs talking about how when he traveled to India, he said the trip wasn't very, I don't know what the word would be, it wasn't desirable, but he learned the most valuable thing, he said, and it was to follow his intuition. And there's another quote by him where he talks about how if you follow your heart and your intuition, they already somehow know what you truly want. And I couldn't agree more with my life experience. It's every time I followed that path, it's turned out to be fruitful beyond belief. There's also another thing I like to think about where I think Kobe Bryant said it, but it's the thing you dream about happening isn't what happens, something greater will. And I just love that idea because it is like that. Billy Woods has a song where he talks, it's called Chicarones, I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he says, you want it one way, but it's another. You want it one way, but it's another. And it's just repeating throughout the whole song. And it's like, yeah, life's like that. Like, don't get this, like, picturesque idea of what it's going to turn out to be. I've learned expectations are most of the time detrimental, I think taking things for how they are and unwrapping them as they come to you is the best way to go. Don't try to think about what it could be. As hard as easier said than done. But Let's go to another one. Jordan Peterson talks about Nietzsche, and he says he could write and what he says in a sentence takes people a book to say. And I think that is just amazing. That's why I love Billy Woods, because I almost think it's along the same lines as that. It's just like he'll say this and it means all this, and it's amazing. And that's what I love about art, music, literature, everything like that. Movies, whatever, cinema, like it, plays, anything that gets you to that broader perspective just from seeing this little slice of it. I love that, you know. Oh, this one. We do the same when awake as when dreaming. We only invent and imagine him with whom we have intercourse and forget it immediately. I've been thinking about that more and more lately. I was reading this book called Care of the Soul, or Care for the Soul, and it was talking about how basically everything that you try to avoid, you basically embed deeper and deeper into your subconscious, and it therefore starts to portray itself in your own life because you're avoiding it so much it comes to fruition because you're constantly thinking about it at a deeper level. And so like I've been trying to really understand what has been going into my subconscious and what's feeding it. And I will say it's definitely a benefit to take notice of what is truly driving this action or feeling that you have or that you're doing, rather than just thinking it's an emotion on the surface level. There's something deeper that's probably coming out that's trying to show itself, but you're just addressing the surface level issue of it rather than the thing that's the precursor of that event. But we do the same when awake as dreaming. And same thing with going into that space of like a flow state. It's like that space. It's not just when we're asleep. It's like there's this room, space, territory, whatever you want to call it, that you can get access to through certain ways of meditating or just focus or lack thereof. You know, very oxymoronic, but this one's a good one, but it's kind of overplayed. I do vape. I don't really care about that. Ignorance is bliss. Even though I'm not ignorant to it, so it's really just being stupid. But this one is, the belly is the reason why man does not so readily take himself for a god. And I love that. It's like, yeah, like all of our human tendencies, you know, hunger, sleep, hygiene, like all of these things that you have to kind of keep up, and it's just like a constant process of you having to deal with it, you know. It's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting how detached people can come from that, from their human form, and think they're this grandiose thing, which you can be. You know, you can have an aura or a certain presence about you that is contagious or has a certain circumference around you, you know. I definitely know from when I meet people the type of energy that I'm receiving from them, like regardless of how they're portraying themselves to be or carrying themselves. It's like I can just feel this thing, and whether it's good or bad, it could be either or, but I'd say mostly it's been some sort of, honest, I don't know why, but like this conniving sort of essence about it. And I think it goes just, I don't know, to a deeper thing of like, I don't know, jealousy or envy, and, you know, I don't know. Men just want to be like this. They want to be the man type thing. It's like, I'm not that interested in that. I'm who I am. And that's the shit. You know? And it's like, I just, it's not that simple, I guess, for a lot of people. And I understand that, and I feel for them, because it's hard to find yourself and to feel confident and to stand on your choices of who you want to be, you know? I've lost basically every, you know, before I became, I guess, artistic and inclined with the philosophical and intellectual pursuits. I lost basically everything at the foundation that I had throughout like middle school, high school, kids with their bikes in my front yard, all that type of stuff. Like friendships you would think would be there to stay. It's just wild. But it's not that wild. I just feel like it's wild because like, bro, come on. It's like, it's still me. Like, it's just maybe a louder version, but not loud as in the sense of decibels, just like it's more present, you know. But that's, that's what it is. There's eventually going to be a group of people out there that align with my train of thoughts, or even if they're not aligned with my train of thought, because that's not a necessity by any means to be friends with somebody or to have them associated with you. But, the same wavelength or frequency, I guess you could say. I'm still searching. This one I like a lot. The more abstract the truth you wish to teach, the more must you allure the senses to it. I think that's interesting because it's like when I was a diesel mechanic, I just remember my boss always telling me to say less, say more by saying less, And then I go into like all the intellectual, philosophical thoughts I have, and like explaining them gets so kind of tangible, if that's a word. Like, it just becomes a tangent, and me trying to explain this, and I go back to explain that, and all this. And so that's one of the practices I've really been practicing is simplifying abstract thought to interpretation that can be understood by, anyone. Because it should be that relatable. If you truly understand something, it should be that relatable. So I always try to find some real life examples that people can relate to. I think that always helps when people can see, things in their own life where that thing might be represented, so they can go, okay, I see that connection, and then they can kind of build off of that. Life's funny, man. One is punished best for one's virtues. That reminds me of this Japanese proverb where the nail that's sticking out gets hit with the hammer. And that's kind of what I think I could circle back with, like how I feel like the energy I feel like I get sometimes, for the most part, is maybe this envious or conniving force from these people that I meet. I think because of that. I think because it's like, I think a lot of people are scared to be who they want to be, and I understand that. Shit, I wouldn't rationally choose like, hey, yes, let me lose all of my friends and, go through all, like, it wasn't the best in terms of fun or enjoyment, but in terms of character development, it's nothing equates to it, It's kind of like, not to be like too deep about it, but like Icarus burning the wings and falling down, and then being a phoenix, if you want to relate that back into it. But it's like, rebuilding yourself from scratch and then choosing actually who you want to be, not the people you grew around and the influences you had in your environment and social groups. It was like, who do you want to be? Go be it. And you don't have to be loud and, just be it. Just exist and be yourself. That's all it is. Enjoy the time you have. It's not worth being arguing and, enjoy the time you have. Be yourself. People are accepting of it. When I got, like this maybe ignorant tattoo and all these things and my knuckles and my hands, and people thinking I just came out of prison, it's like, I can't tell you how accepted I was from the majority of people. But then the select group wasn't, and that's fine. But it's like, if you truly come to be your own self, the universe rewards you. It wants you to be. It's waiting for you to be. I promise. This is a golden one. I think a lot of people don't possess this trait. I know it's hard for me to possess this trait at times. It's just like life kind of kicks it out of you and doesn't want you to have it in a way. But the maturity of man, that means to have reacquired the seriousness that one had as a child at play. I'll say that again. The maturity of man, that means to have reacquired the seriousness, that word. Say it again. The maturity of man, that means to have reacquired the seriousness that one had as a child at play. That, I think, something I have taken from Jim Carrey is this exact line, basically. I think he kind of just possesses this quality about him, and I've always been attracted to the movies he's in. Whenever he speaks, I'm interested, even if he's like goofing or trolling something. It's like I'm interested in what he's saying. I think he is an interesting guy who understands spirituality more than most do. And I think it's also very, very important. There's a Robin Williams thing where he's doing like this skit on stage where he talks about the spark of madness that you have to keep, or otherwise it's poof, you're nothing. And I think that spark of madness that he was talking about is that the seriousness that one had as a child at play. It's like if you don't hold on to that, I don't know, become a drone, become empty vessel, I don't know. But it's like keeping the childish play aspect throughout your whole life, being able to laugh throughout the day. When I'm doing Olympic weightlifting or doing something incredibly tough that is extraneous, I'm laughing because I enjoy doing what I'm doing. It's not like I have to be this mean, like I'm laughing, I'm giggling like a little kid because I'm enjoying the most out of the life that I have. That's what I love to do, so I go do it, and I love to do it. It's simple, really, but like you got too many friends, like you got too many distractions, so you can't even begin to understand where you are, where you lie, where your morals compass is. This is a good one. Poets act shamelessly towards their experiences. They exploit them. And I want to change poets to literally every pursuit these days. It's like all it is exploitation. The people who are trying to expose or be anti-exploitation are exploiting exploitation. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just scam artists to me, It's just a front, a facade, a face. And they're so righteous, too. That's the wildest thing. Like, they feel so strong and passionate about what they're doing. You don't have to be yelling about what you're doing if it's so good, People will say, hey, you're doing a good job. That's good. They'll tell you if you're doing a good job. And shit, if you're doing a great one, they'll be telling you for sure. But it's like to be out in this and get... It's tragic. People... using their ego as a monetary tool and people indulging in it. It's crazy. And it's crazy they don't feel it like that. It's just their ego shining and them being like, basking in it. It's terrible. Like, I fucking hate talking because I just want to do it. I just want to show you that I'm doing it. That's more important than me being in front of a camera while it fucking records me talking about this shit. But people can't get enough. This is, no, I was gonna say it's dystopian and all this, but it's like, we live in a weird place, man. And we could change it just by being who we're meant to be, not the influenced, marketed, advertised version of you, like, you're not a product. And you are a consumer, but you can choose what you consume. It doesn't have to be just what's in front of your face and what your friends are into. I'm not trying to be negative. I see so many people talking and I have no idea why they feel that they have a merit to their voice. It's baffling, the audacity, honestly, to me. Like, people who have done nothing. Myself, I could be included in that. It's just like, who have done nothing, getting in front of a camera talking, and Orwellian. Everyone's gonna be a celebrity, right? That's what I'm fucking talking about. Nietzsche. To talk about oneself may also be a means of concealing oneself. Does that make sense? To talk about oneself may also be a means of concealing oneself. That's all they're doing when they're doing these things, when they're posting these videos, when they're just being this thing. It's not even in the internet realm. It's people in real life as well. They have these weird, like, personas that are fed into by their friend group because everybody has their persona. So everybody's protecting each other's persona, making sure that everybody can be fake together and no one's calling each other out. It's a very strange dynamic. Most people are involved in it. But again, to talk about oneself may also be a means of concealing oneself. I love it. I love it. I hope that gets through. You can sit on that. To talk about oneself may also be a means of concealing oneself. These experts, these people that are being looked up to, there's nobody that is on a pedestal. Take them off of it. They're a human being. A human being. A human being. And like with these people, for instance, in my realm, Olympic weightlifting, right? I specifically never chose to be a part of an Olympic weightlifting gym because I could not stand people clapping after every lift. You've seen the movie Whiplash? That's one of my favorite scenes at the end of the movie is when the instructor, the composer, if that's right name, met with the young actor at the bar and was talking about that the event with Charlie Parker, how he messed up on the set. Someone threw a cymbal at his head. A year later, he came back to the Reno, did a set or solo that blew everybody's nuts off. He came back because he was pissed that happened. And the speech ended basically by saying the two most harmful words in the English language are good job. And all I saw was an environment that was incredibly coddled and supported for people to be their best, And it's like, God. I don't know. I'm not going to start like that. I think a big discrepancy with our country, among others, is the fact that we cannot individually strive and prosper on our own through our own moral compass and our own instruments at hand. We need this environment. We need to be a part of a team. We need to be a part of a group of people. We need to feel like we're the thing. We need these outside things to make us reinforce that idea that, I am this thing. I spend 4 hours here. I'm this thing. And it's like, bro, you're proving that to yourself. Wasting all the time you're wasting. That's cool. And you're only making yourself weaker because you're not developing yourself personally. You have all of these crutches externally. And they're not looked at as crutches. They're looked at as a community and all these other things. It's like people wonder why we're so weak and soft. All the environments are weak and soft. What do you think that would produce? That's why I always kept to myself. I'd go to the commercial gyms or whatever that had a platform and bumper plates, and I would just do my thing. I didn't need that. I didn't need to be at a gym with people doing my thing. I want no one to talk to me because I'm focused on doing the thing that I know I'm supposed to be doing. That's as much as I need from it, because that's all there is to it. You're just fulfilling this outside bar that has nothing to do with the actual thing you're trying to pursue. I apologize if it seems like I've gotten emotional throughout this conversation. I guess that's me. I'm done reading from that. I am optimistic about us all. I believe in myself, therefore I have to believe in others. There's no way I'm singular in my thoughts and feelings towards these things. And, there's by no means am I an extremist or anything like that, but I do find a lot of people are going down a path that is not going to be beneficial in the long run. And, I'm in no position to really be saying that, but it just seems like studying history, psychology, philosophy, and these things, you can kind of see the precursors and where they're going to end up. And for some reason, I don't know when this really started to occur, but it seems like people started to think that they could define the reality they had, and that the reality would bound to their definitions, which doesn't work like that. I think it might have been like a branch of manifesting. People just took it way too far and thinking that it just revolves around their, whatever beliefs and principles. But you have a certain ability to manipulate your surroundings based off the actions and the ripples of those actions, but it doesn't really go much further than that. The thing is still the thing. You're playing the game, you're a piece of the game, and that is as well. There's no changing that piece, just as there's no changing you. You can develop, but there's no real change. I wonder if these videos help anybody. I don't really know. It's been 30 minutes and I'm kind of just talking. It felt like I should talk. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was really just seeing the things I was seeing, and I'm just, why are people talking so much? Just do the thing. Just do it. Just do the thing. Stop talking. And stop rewarding the just talking so much. That's not really going to occur, but it's like that would be a benefit, I think, to everyone involved. It seems like the whole food chain is just out of order. People are experiencing lives that by no means with their characteristics and traits should they be experiencing, but through the distorted climate that we're in, they're allowed to. And I just, not even in a cynical way, I don't hope the rubber band snaps back and it recalibrates, but it just, I hope it does for the good, I guess, of society in the long run, because it's just, not gonna be yeah, it's just not going to be, if that's what we choose to do. It's just going to become a circus and a reality TV show. Planet Earth. And doesn't have to be. And I strongly believe that people like me are in large numbers, and it's not going to end up that way. I think people love the human race enough. I don't think we're as cynical as people make it out to be. I think there is a love for life and this planet, this universe that is insurmountable and impenetrable. Like there's just no defeating it. And I know I'm a strong motherfucker, and I know that there's stronger motherfuckers. So I'd say we have a pretty good chance, because all the talking people are just noise. I'm not substance. So just remember that, talking about it. There's a guy, forget his name, it might be Chris Williamson, but he talks about how planning the thing is not doing the thing, talking about the thing is not doing the thing, hanging out with people who are doing the thing is not doing the thing. Do the thing and shut the fuck up.